Got a question from Kotaiba coming at the question of customer segmentation through the lens of idea selection. So, if you're starting from scratch, how do you find the right customer to focus on and start figuring out their problems? To be honest, I don't think it is possible to do this from a completely blank slate because to me, so much of the feel of running a business is how much I like and relate to and get along with the customers I'm serving. And so many of the tasks of business, be it marketing or sales or customer learning and product development, it involves hanging out with these people and like speaking their language and finding a way to interact with them and reach them. So to me, that's been the biggest factor in whether I enjoy running a business or not is whether I enjoy hanging out with the customers or not. Like my least favorite startup experience was my first one, the one that went through Y Combinator and was arguably like the biggest deal on paper, but I hated it because our customers were big media companies and advertisers. And even when I could get them to start taking the meetings with me and taking me kind of seriously, they still weren't the people I wanted to hang out with. It was such a difference once I started building products for like academics or universities or entrepreneurs or authors or a million other customer segments who I actually enjoy hanging out with and kind of understand and empathize with. I get that you might want to overlay that with the question of market size and willingness to pay and all of that. I think fine, but I would totally discount just like your personal preference around like interesting types of people and domains. Because even if you really are willing to like work with any arbitrary type of customer, there's still the question of getting in touch with them. you know, like, are they going to answer your emails? Like, and if not, are you going to be excited to kind of pay your dues in that industry and with that customer segment and stick with that industry and customer segment for long enough that you learn the language and they begin to take you seriously and answer your emails and take the meetings? You don't have to know them at the very beginning, but I think you have to be interested enough in them that there's going to be a reason you stick around for long enough so that you get to know them. At least that's the way I've approached it. But I'm very emotionally driven as an entrepreneur. I've never been able to treat a business like a spreadsheet and just do what's optimal. I have to do what I enjoy and what I care about. So for me, that's the balance. And I found that if I do that, I made a video ages ago where like the ultimate customer development hack is to pick customers you'd like to be friends with. Because then it stops being so miserable and scary to do all this outreach and talking to them and learning about them. It solves a lot of problems operationally, especially in the early stages. But then, yeah, sure, sanity check that. Like, is that still a big enough market? Is that the right type of industry for what you want to accomplish? No, in terms of like subdividing it and deciding who actually to talk to, I like to think of it increasingly as a customer segment's like a demographic or a profile. To make it actionable in the early stages, I like to think of it as a who, where pair. So, like, who's the person and where do I find them? That could be somewhere in the real world. That could be somewhere online you know, that could be through a certain portion of my network, but it's like a type of person and it's a place where I find them, a who, where pair. And then I'm looking for I'm looking for signs of passion and excitement. Like, and ideally, the earliest customers in my experience tend to be the ones who are like already putting serious effort into solving this problem. If you have to educate people about why it matters, then they're a very difficult first customer segment because like education takes a long time and you have to like convince them it matters before they'll start engaging with it and they don't really have this pre-existing awareness of the problem or solutions or what they've already tried. It's just way slower. You can get them later as a mainstream adopter. So if I'm evaluating, I'm like doing that overlap is like, is the market abstractly big enough to fit my business goals? Is it a type of customer who personally I enjoy hanging out with and feel like I can either already reach or am willing to stay in the game long enough that I can begin to reach them? And then the third piece is like, can I identify the subsegment within that, the who, where pair, and I can detect in them the enthusiasm and the excitement. That means they might not just be a mainstream adopter later, but they're likely to be an early adopter or first adopter now, what Steve Blank calls the early evangelist, even earlier than the early adopter. And so, yeah, if I like them, if I can reach them, if it's a decent enough market, and if I can see signs that these early evangelists, these first customers exist, then I'm like, okay, fair enough. I'm going to start there.